Chris Tucker recently appeared on a podcast where he revealed to fans why he was absent in the Friday sequels, Next Friday and Friday After Next. According to Tucker, it was because of the marijuana. He didn't want to represent everyone smoking weed and didn't want to be responsible for that influence. After Friday, Tucker would appear in films like Dead Presidents, Money Talks, The Fifth Element, and of course, the Rush Hour trilogy. However, since 2007, he's appeared only in 2 films, leaving everyone to wonder if he made the right decision. Today we have our Comedy Hype analysts, Vanessa Fraction and Capone, calling in on the show to talk about the latest piece of news, and we have to ask, do you think Chris Tucker made the right decision by passing on the Friday sequels? But first, let's take a look at this clip.
Back then, I got to tell you, one of the reasons why I didn't do the second one because of the weed. Because I said, man, that movie became a phenomenon. I don't want everybody smoking weed. And I never really told people this because I kind of forgot about it. But it was one of the reasons why I didn't do it, because I said, I don't want to represent, everybody smoking weed. I kind of made it more personal than a movie. And that's one of the reasons why I said, I didn't want to keep doing that character. Okay. And it probably was good for me because it kept me moving, to the next phase and next movies. But that was one of the reasons. I said I didn't want to get everybody smoking weed high in the world. So.
Now, I don't want to.
Now, I want us to dive into this, but before doing so, I want to bring back up the question and give some context to it. So a lot of people are wondering, if Chris Tucker made the right decision on passing the Friday sequels, mainly because, as you know, marijuana is not as taboo as it once was. There's a lot of research that supports, the after effects of marijuana. So I want to start with you, Vanessa. What are your thoughts and what's your reaction to that?
I think that you got to follow your heart and follow your spirit and where it's guiding you. Again, he said, when he did not do the Friday movies, it allowed him to keep moving, you know what I mean, and doing other things. You get to see him in a lot of different ways, and all of them were funny. I loved every movie that he has been in. So I kind of understand why at that particular time, why he would kind of feel that way, because you're growing and, trying to figure things out and what you want to represent and who you want to be, in total, and being responsible in thinking like, hey, I do have influence on people. Hey, there are people watching me, and what do I truly want to put forth for me? Even though this is a character, it's not him as a person. So I guess my answer just would be, again, just you have to follow your heart.
Capone, I'll bring that question to you. What's your reaction to that? And do you think he made the right decision given the context?
I think his decision, whatever it was the right decision for one. But I don't think that's all the truth. I mean, like he said, the movie was a big phenomenon. And as far as I know, he didn't sign the proper papers that he should have signed, where he would be still getting a lot of money from that movie, because every DVD, all of that, I don't think that he thought it would be as big as it was. And a lot of actors they just get the role and, they play their part and they don't look at the business part about the situation. So I think that the weed thing was an excuse. I think he didn't get the proper funds that he thought he should get. And so he didn't want to do too for that same type of measures.
Now, I do want to bring up something, Vanessa, you mentioned about, Chris Tucker knowing that he has an influence, but, he was a character on Friday. And I think that brings up a great point, as well as my next question. Do you think movies and films influence people the way that Chris Tucker suggests that they do?
In short, yes. I think they can influence you. There are certain actors and actresses that say, look, I don't want to do any slave movies. I just don't want to depict that. I want to show, strong, successful, Black people, or I want to show people of color in this way or that way. So I think that it's important to think about it, because yes, you have young people watching. There's plenty of things that I've imitated from movies or mimicked. Again, you should have parents that are teaching you not, the kind of the rights and wrongs of society, and understanding that, hey, these are just movies and you shouldn't do just do the things that are in movies. But the same way that you can learn from entertainment and stuff like that, you can also be influenced in a negative way with entertainment as well. So I think it is a factor.
Yeah, and I think it's impressive too when you find someone that knows, like, hey, I do have that influence, because you have some people that don't understand the influence that they do have. Capone, I'll bring that same question to you. What are your thoughts on that?
Hell yeah. Every Chinese movie that I ever saw made me feel that I could put them little slippers on and could kick higher and do all of the things that Bruce Lee did. And I was so influenced that my mama took me to karate school. After I saw a movie, I just started kicking stuff for no reason. So she put me in a place where I could kick and probably get kicked back.
You bring up a great point. Me too. Anytime I watch like any action movie afterwards, I don't know why I feel like I can do that. So I do agree with both of you. Before we close out, every time. Before we close out, I do want to ask another question that I think that a lot of people may have. And Capone, I'm actually going to start with you on this one. Do you think that Chris Tucker could make a comeback as being a lead in a movie or a project, or do you think he's reached his peak and no longer is at his prime?
Oh, as long as he can act, he can definitely come back. I just think that he needs a strong, supportive cast, and I'll be willing to act in one of Chris Tucker's movies. I mean, every movie he had, though, a lot of movies, he had really, really strong actors with him. You know, even from the Money movie with Charlie Sheen, all of those were very, very strong co-actors with him. So, yeah, I think he can.
Vanessa, I'll propose that same question to you. What are your thoughts? Do you think Chris Tucker can make a comeback?
Yes. I think especially in this society, it's all about the comebacks. It's all about the, I took a rest and now, look at me now in this part of my life. So for sure, there's plenty of people that have come back, and I think he could be someone that comes back really strong. And as Capone said, yeah, especially if he has a nice cast around him, and it definitely is possible.
He need to check for us. Don't you think so?
Well, of course I would say yes, Capone, we would definitely be a strong cast. Have the comedy hype crew behind Chris Tucker with a whole,
Yeah, and I have to agree with you all. If I hear Chris Tucker in any movie, I'm automatically going to go because, as you mentioned, he's always had a great cast with him. But for me, he's always just been intriguing in every project that I've seen. It's crazy enough, I've heard some debates of people who think the other side. They feel like Chris has reached his peak and no longer can, be that leading part in a movie or a project. And feel like,
why? Have they seen him recently in something that they were let down in? I'm curious.
I think that may be why, because as I mentioned earlier, you haven't seen him in much as of lately, and so it's just that curiosity of like, hey, is it because nobody wants him, or is it because he's just choosing not to take those parts on? Because we've seen him turn down roles time and time again, right. And in this situation where he's saying I'm walking away from a sequel because this is a choice that I make. So people are just torn between, is it he no longer has that oomph, or is it just he's choosing to say no to Hollywood?
Or maybe Hollywood ain't putting him in nothing.
Why do we go there though? I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, because he definitely, cashed in on a lot of things, and sometimes with Hollywood being the way it is, sometimes you just want to chill, raise your kids, get into family life, because when you're working so much, there's a lot of things that you miss, you know what I mean? Even, different family members and functions and things that you would have regularly been into, but you're not chasing, but you're just taking in all that you can, while you're still hot, and to go ahead and take a break and then come back. I don't see that there's anything wrong with that. Like, and that's why I was asking, has he been in a film or a short film or did a walk on where y'all saw him dry? You know what I mean? Because anytime I've seen him act, he is on point. His timing is everything. And he is what you're looking for the funny. So I look forward to an opportunity for him to come back, whether it be a big role, small role. I enjoy him as an actor. So,
well, let me ask this, and this is just a fun question I'm throwing in. I'll start with you, Vanessa, because you said would you want to see Chris Tucker reconsider that role? If Friday did say, hey, we're gonna take another stab at it, or just bring that character back, would you want to see Chris Tucker as Smokey?
If Smokey evolved, I think, you know what I mean, and maybe that was his thing. You know what I mean, like you want to see a character have some range or what have you. So I don't want to be sitting on the porch still. Maybe he's found religion, maybe he's with a lady that don't particularly care for, maybe he just don't want to smoke in front of his kids, whatever. He doesn't necessarily have to smoke. And I personally don't have to necessarily see him in that Friday franchise, because a lot has changed with the passing of some very important characters. There's a lot that has changed in that franchise. And so, I don't know that I want to see a revised Friday. I would just like to see him in pretty much anything.
Capone, I'll throw that same question to you. Would you want to see Chris Tucker as Smokey?
No, I'm just straight up no. I think that the movie, what he did with it, was enough to have that memory about him. And Mike Epps did a good part. I only want to see Mike Epps. I just think that, Friday did well.
Right.
And I just want to see both of them brothers just go up to another levels. Not to say that Friday won't be another level, but just another, different levels of acting. That's all.
Gotcha. Well, as always, I appreciate you all for chiming in. You heard from us, now we want to hear from you in the comments below. Do you think Chris Tucker made the right decision by passing on the Friday sequels? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Protect Black culture.
Protect that thing.
Ooh, that thing.
You heard it. You didn't know.
But yeah.
Thing.
Do you know the comedy culture? Play Comedy Hype, the game. Out now.